Hi guys, now what we've had our eggplant soaking, or actually in salt for about an hour, so as you can see they've changed colour slightly, a bit of the water's come out. So now what we're going to do is we're going to actually take our eggplant out and put them on paper towels, and we're just going to wipe the moisture because they're still, as you can see, they're quite wet. So we're going to wipe the moisture off before we add it to our flour and our eggs. So I'll grab some paper towels, and I normally just give them a pat. It helps to take off the excess salt as well. So just pat them down. Now I've got 4 eggs here. So I'm just going to beat the eggs. Just give them a bit of a beat. 4 eggs should be plenty, but you can always beat up more eggs if you need to. So give them a bit of a whisk. And a good beat. We don't add anything else to the egg because we've got salt on the eggplant, so we don't want to over salt it. We have lots of flavours in our sauce. If you remember when we made the meatballs, we had the beautiful meatball flavour go through the sauce. So just got beaten egg. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to flour the pieces of eggplant and drop them into the egg, like that. Make sure that the egg covers all of the eggplant. So we'll just do a bit. Give it a soak. We're not going to leave it in here for very long. We're just going to make sure we've got enough to put in the fry pan. As I said, you can leave the skin on if you want. I prefer to have the skin off. Okay, so in my fry pan, I have extra virgin olive oil light. Frying up the eggplant does take quite a bit of oil, so I have a paper towel here that after I fried it, I actually wipe off the excess oil. So we don't want too much oil to join into our Parmigiana. So I'll turn the stove on while I continue to do some more eggplant. So we'll just do that, get it ready. Get our eggplant into the egg, make sure it's well covered. Once our oil's ready, you can keep going, adding more in, just so long as your eggplant are covered with egg. That's the main thing. So we'll wipe off a bit more. Get the excess juice off. It's okay. As you can see, they've become much softer after being in the egg, after being in the salt, sorry. Just pop that in there. So when the oil's hot, I'm going to fry my first piece. So the best way to check if your oil's hot is wait for the sizzle. A little bit of egg in there. So once it starts to sizzle, then I'll add my eggplant. So I've got plenty ready to go. In. Come in with a fork. Okay, so now my oil is ready. I'm just going to add the eggplant one at a time into the oil. Make sure it doesn't get too hot because you don't want to burn it. So just fry it up. Doesn't take very long to fry. Another thing, if you've actually made too much eggplant like this for your Parmigiana, if your dish is a bit small, it's really yummy to eat it fried like this. I must admit, I do like to taste it as I go along. So that's frying along nicely. Make sure it doesn't stick to the bottom of your pan. Doesn't take long to sizzle. I've got my sauce on. My sauce is there, but we're going to bubble away because we want, when we put the Parmigiana together, we actually want the sauce to be hot, not to be cold. It actually blends in better. So we'll just do that. We'll just do a few more eggplant into the egg. Okay, so I'm just going to flip the eggplant over and cook the other side. You can see the nice colour of the eggplant. That's what we're looking for. Nicely fried, but not too dark, not too overcooked. Here's one perfect piece there. And I just keep adding as I go along. Keep adding the eggplant in. And that little piece I'm going to eat. It's delicious, cooked, just fried like that. Some eggplants there. They're nicely done. See, a little bit pale, so I'll just put that back in for a little bit longer. As you can see, it doesn't take long to fry them up. It's well worth the time it takes to make this dish, especially if you're having a barbecue. Absolutely stun your guests if you make this one. I haven't found anybody yet who doesn't love eggplant parmigiana. As you can see, I've fried up my eggplant. So we've got quite a bit of eggplant there. I have some more here that I've just patted down with a paper towel to take off excess oil. So I'm going to put that on there. My sauce is ready, it's nice and hot. And I'm going to eat that piece. I've also turned my oven on to about 180 just to get it nice and hot, because we're going to add mozzarella cheese. I've grated up some mozzarella here. This is about half a knob. I may not use it all, but that's okay. So now what we do is we have our hot sauce. You take a spoonful, just line the bottom of your dish with sauce. As you can see, it's nice and rich, not too much sauce, just enough to put on the bottom. And then we start layering our eggplant. Little small bits come in handy because they fill in the holes, they fill in the gaps. So we'll just layer like that. As you can see, this little dish, there'll be a couple of layers in this, which is great. A little small piece there. Now, a little bit more sauce, not too much because we've got sauce on the bottom, just sort of sprinkle it over. Just so that each eggplant's got a bit of sauce on it. Like that. Then grab some mozzarella cheese, sprinkle it through. As you can see, the mozzarella cheese going in, it's nice and fresh. And then we just keep layering our eggplants like this. Remember, we've already cooked the eggplant, so when we're actually putting it into the oven, we really only want to melt the cheese. So, more sauce, put it through. It's a beautiful eggplant, those ones I cut. Should be nice and sweet. A bit more sauce, more mozzarella. The sauce will actually spread once it goes into the oven. Mozzarella cheese, love mozzarella cheese in my Parmigiana. Okay, one more layer. That's just worked out perfectly for the size of my dish. Look at that. Absolutely perfect. And this piece I'm going to eat. More sauce. Actually, this time make sure your sauce covers. Excuse me, a mouthful. Perfect amount of sauce. There we go. Mozzarella cheese on the top. put a bit more mozzarella on the top. Then it goes into the oven just to melt the cheese. And then we leave it sit for about 15 minutes before we actually cut it, because that helps to keep it all together. You can actually make this the day before, and if you're having a barbecue, you can actually eat it cold. It is delicious with a nice piece of crusty bread. So there we go with my mozzarella cheese. That's now going to go into the oven just until the cheese melts. So we'll